stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first thing, approval of the agenda. Did anyone have any additions, any changes?
Mayor, I'd like if you could add back on discussion on the sale of the fire truck that you approved a couple meetings ago.
Okay, so we'll put that as under miscellaneous, 8A. Sale. Old ladder truck. Anything else?
I just have a question. If we approve this agenda, is this what we're going to stick to then?
Yep.
Okay.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yep.
I think we should move Mark over to the center table there so he can tell the joke that he supposedly told everybody else before the meeting.
No, it's a little embarrassing.
Oh.
Felt like you're in school again, huh? God, I gotta go to the principal's office?
Yeah.
Okay, anything else? Yes, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Seconded by Pat Scripture. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, agenda approved. First thing on the agenda, we have a resolution in front of us, which is recognizing the employment, I don't want to say duties or job, because I think Kenny had more fun at that position than I can imagine. He did a great job working for the city of New Prague for 19 plus years, and he's finally going to fish full-time, I guess, after May 30th. So I guess if there's no other questions or concerns, I would like to adopt the resolution in recognition of Ken Tietz.
Second.
I got a second by Dave Brusick. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Kenny, can you come up here, please?
With Kenny tonight is his wife Nancy.
Yes, well, the better half. Resolution number 1405-19-01. Resolution recognizing Kenneth R. Tietz. Whereas Kenneth R. Tietz has faithfully served the city of New Prague in the positions of inventory clerk, utility maintenance, and inventory clerk safety coordinator from January 17, 1995 to May 30, 2014. And where he has always effectively, conscientiously, and professionally represented the New Prague utilities and the city of New Prague in a distinguished fashion. And whereas his efforts have been largely responsible for the excellent reputation, growth, and overall well-being of the New Prague utilities and of the city of New Prague, and that's legal. Whereas all the citizens of the city of New Prague have been the beneficiary of his efforts, talents, and abilities for the past 19 plus years. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of New Prague, Minnesota, that this community and City Council express and record their esteem and high appreciation of his character, dedication, and contributions, which he has earned him the respect and friendship of all who have the pleasure of working with him. And be it further resolved that the City Council extends best wishes to Kenneth R. Tietz for many years of good health and happiness in retirement. Adopted on this date, 19th of May, 2014. Kenny? Thank you for your hard work. I don't know what we're going to do without the fish fries in May anymore, but maybe you can still kind of add that in to come back and visit us. You're always welcomed, and thank you again for the city.
Thank you.
Speech?
I am deeply honored to receive this award. I have to tell you, we have a marvelous, marvelous workforce, and I've been privileged to have been able to work with each and every one of them. You guys have a excellent, excellent workforce. Serve the commission, serve council, and especially serve the citizens of New Prague. I have been fortunate to have been a part of that. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
Ken, and you were an integral part of that workforce, and you added a lot to this community. I hope you and your wife can enjoy their retirement, but remember us, you're always still a family, part of the New Prague family, so thank you. Next on the agenda, the award of the sale of the bonds. We have Terry Heaton wasn't didn't bless us this time with coming. She used some kind of a lame excuse, so I think we have.
Brenda Kruger is with us tonight.
Yep.
And she's a Vice President of Client Services for Springstead, and admirably filling in for Terry. Brandon, I'll let her introduce her background a little bit, but we're very pleased to have her here in Terry's absence. With that, Brenda, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. Again, I'm Brenda Kruger with Springstead. I have the honor of having been at Springstead longer than Terry Heaton. I've been there 25 years, had 4 different jobs since I've been there, and great company, so I enjoy it. And public finance, in particular, is my area of expertise, so I'm happy to be here this evening. I would like to report you have a resolution before you this evening, and you also have a yellow sheet of paper that we handed out at your place. So the resolution before you is to award the sale of $1.75 million of general obligation bonds, Series 2014A. Well, this morning, on behalf of the city, we took competitive bids. We received 4 bids from 4 different underwriting firms, which are shown on this front and back of this yellow sheet of paper. The winning underwriting syndicate, as you can see, it's a syndicate because there's got to be probably at least 15 different underwriting firms listed in the first group. So it was led by Robert W. Baird, and they are the lowest bidder at a 2.53% true interest rate, and we award the bonds on the true interest rate. Surprisingly, that is actually the same interest rate that we put together about a month ago for you, and we're in the recommendations. The market has moved a little bit. It fluctuates every week. It's moved a little bit upwards in the last a month or so, but you still have an interest rate that's at the same projection that we had. So 2.53 for your 15-year bonds. The second lowest bid was very close to that. That was only a 2.55. That was submitted by Northland Securities. And I would like to just briefly touch on the one aspect of selling your bonds, and that is that we go to the rating agencies and request a rating. The municipal bond markets and investors look at that rating when they're determining what level of interest rate they're willing to put on your bonds. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Standard & Poor's rating, and Mr. Johnson will talk a little bit about the Moody's rating. The city's rating was upgraded from a AA- to a AA with a stable outlook. So you should be very pleased. That's quite an honor, especially in the environment that we've been in the last couple of years. So it's very strong evidence that you've been working hard on all of the major rating factors, and that includes management and includes financial, your financials. In particular, I'd like to point out that one of the aspects of that credit rating is the management, and they label it as strong management conditions. And I'm going to just paraphrase a little bit from the report, because this is an area where they actually stated that your underlying criteria had really improved. So Standard & Poor's changed the management assessment to good from what was previously standard. So they've basically upgraded your management conditions. And what they've not cited as part of that is the city's progress in establishing capital plans for equipment, construction, and utility funds. Management looks as much as 10 years at trends in developing its revenue and expenditure assumptions. You look at you talk to your utility vendors, you look at healthcare providers, among other things that you put into your budget process. The rating agencies ask a lot of questions about what goes into the assumptions when you put together a budget. And they also noted that the City Council receives a monthly update of budget performance and investment holdings. They like to know that there's a reporting directly to you and accountability. So I would like to offer our congratulations on that upgrade. I will let Mr. Johnson speak to the Moody's, and then I'll conclude real quickly and say that based on the results that we got today, we would recommend that you adopt the resolution in front of you and award the bonds.
Okay, thank you.
In front of you tonight is also a bond rating assessment from Moody's Investor Services. They were not the primary firm that we used this time. We moved to S&P. But we received just after lunch today the results of our Moody's review that they kind of call it a surveillance update, taking a look at if we don't use them, that they're periodically, and I think on an annual basis, starting to look at cities in the years that they're not being used. But the rating update that we got from them today is that they affirmed our AA3 rating on our existing GO debt, but that they did remove the negative outlook that was placed on our rating last year, if you recall. Two areas caused that negative outlook primarily. One was in the area of wastewater, if you recall, that when we did the 2013 rating, we had just implemented the fifth of series of six rate increases for wastewater, trying to bring the revenue and the rate structure to the point that we're able to cover long-term operating and capital expenditures and debt payments. And then secondly, we had come off 4 years of negative decline in our market values and net tax capacity numbers. We did see an uptick this year in 2014, and the preliminary information we've gotten from both counties next year looks like a fairly significant upgrade in that process. So while we didn't actually improve the rating, we were affirmed for the same rating that we have, and then the removal of the negative outlook is just as much of a win in that process as the upgrade was under Standard & Poor's. So it's been a long several weeks as we've gotten ready for this process, and we sat through 60 to 90-minute interviews with both of the rating agencies, answering their financial questions and providing audit information. Patty and Ken on building activity and other information that we pull together. They do take you through a very comprehensive set of questions, looking at the local economy and budget to actuals, to historical trends, to future forecasts and outcomes of that sense. So we're very pleased, and I think in your packet is that I showed you kind of what the bond ratings look like as far as under the different rating agencies and where we've come in the last 6 years in the process. That with this uptick with S&P, we're 2 steps below a AAA. Again, no change with Moody's, and as we take a look at that with both of them, is we probably have plateaued for a period of time now, that I don't expect significant changes in the future bond ratings, at least until we're able to pay down more debt on the wastewater plant. If you recall, we took $30 million out to build that plant. We have paid on that for about 6 years now. We have 24 more years yet to go. So until we pay down a little bit more of that debt, their indications is that we probably shouldn't expect to see a significant change in our bond ratings. But the planning that we've done with our street CIP work and utility replacement fits in with this schedule. If you also recall the last 2 years with payment of the write-off of the golf debt out of the general fund and paying cash for the fire truck put us in a negative position for the last 2 years in the general fund. But because of the prior history and that those are one-time items, as they look at that, we weren't penalized because of doing those kind of things. And so we're quite pleased to see the upgrade to the AA under S&P and the affirmation on Moody's with the removal of the negative outlook. So,
Good. Very good job, Mike. Thank you. Any questions at all? If not, I guess I'll look for a motion to, what's that?
If you wanted to talk further, or is this after?
Did you have anything else to say? Okay, I guess I will look for a motion to award the sale of our bonds to the consortium with Robert W. Baird and Company.
So moved. Second.
Okay, I got a motion by Sean Ryan, second by Mark Bartuszczyk. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Okay, passes 5-0.
Mayor, I should also point out, and I should have acknowledged that, is that the work that the council does in regards to setting the budget plans, looking at the utility trends, making decisions on rates and charges, all of the capital improvement planning, all of that goes into it. So you are as much a part of the end result of the bond rating. It's your financial decision-making that you do with staff's recommendations to take a look at this. And so it's really something, quite frankly, all of you can be proud of, when you take a look at it. That I've asked Terry, when she happens to have time at a future meeting, to bring some information to give you an oversight of kind of where do we stand compared to other Minnesota cities. And so we'll have some of that in the future relative to kind of where we're at.
Okay, good. Next on the agenda, approval of the amendment to addendum A and B. Are you taking that, Mike?
Yes. Basically, this is an amendment to an existing agreement we have with Springstead dating back to 2009 as it relates to continuing disclosure and/or arbitrage rebate. That as we add a bond issue, we have certain financial reporting and monitoring obligations and disclosure information. So basically what we're doing is adding this to the compendium of the outstanding issues that we have with Springstead already to help us do both of these services.
Can we approve them both at the same time? Okay, any questions for Mike regarding this? If not, I guess I'll make a motion to approve the amendment to addendum A and B, agreement with Springstead.
Second.
Second by Sean Ryan. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Okay. Passes 5-0. Moving right along. Ken, are you taking the
I
next?
will.
Sir.
For the little background for the City Council regarding some past grants for the Scott County Community Development Agency that has been made available to the city. We've in previous years, in 2010 and in 2013, received individual $15,000 grants to help with the planning for the future expansion. I've called Phase 2 of the industrial park in the memo. And those grants at $15,000 did not require a match, and we did complete a preliminary engineering report and also a market study and financial analysis were the most recent projects done with the grant money we received from the Scott County CDA. For 2014, the program is continuing. However, the process has been modified and a local match is now required, and it also requires a resolution be adopted by the council to authorize submittal of the grant application. The grant program did have two different opportunities this point, or at this year, and the particular program, which is one of the two that we are looking at participating in, would be the Corridor Readiness Program. New Prague has one of the 10 corridors identified throughout the county for obviously future industrial development as a priority for the county. And that happens to be where our planned expansion of the industrial park is located. And this is a corridor, again, that we're looking to continue to do work towards the potential expansion of that industrial park. And particularly for this project, we had the EDA review the draft grant application, which is in front of you here tonight. They reviewed that on May 14th, 2014, and the projects included in the grant application at this point, as reviewed by the EDA, were the completion of an annexation boundary survey for $1,500, completion of a Phase 1 environmental site assessment for $3,000, a wetland delineation for $3,000, and then finally a traffic impact study at $12,000. And I did want to note specifically that all components of this particular proposed body of work, except for the boundary survey, include what would eventually be the full 100-acre build-out of the industrial park as identified in the 2010 preliminary engineering report. The boundary survey for the annexation obviously would only include the first portion of the development, should that occur, which is roughly 23 acres and has been talked about in the past. Total project cost for these 4 items is $19,500. The Corridor Readiness Program requires for every dollar requested that the city provide a 50-cent match, and that the local match, which would be paid by the EDA, would be $6,500. Staff believes this would be a very good set of projects to specifically move the project towards a potential reality, and specifically be relevant to making an offer to the property owner for the first phase of development on the 23-acre property. The only one of these items which has probably a longer-term post-development benefit, but is also beneficial up front, is the completion of that traffic impact study, which is actually just a good set of information for existing development. You get a lot of bus traffic for Ravenstream Elementary School and the residential area that drive a lot of traffic through that area currently as well. So specifically the intersection of 21 and County Road 37 and 6th Street is kind of the focal point of that traffic impact study and what could be future traffic control at that point. So staff does recommend approval, along with the EDA's review and concurrence at their May 14th meeting, to approve the attached resolution, which would approve the authorization to submit that grant application.
And as Ken mentioned, the EDA did approve it. It was unanimously approved at the EDA meeting, our last meeting. So I think they feel that it's obviously a bonus to get some free money to use during our industrial park.
Just as an aside and an update on the first 3 items, that generally in the construction of a purchase agreement, that in most cases the purchaser would end up paying for those costs, and you put them in there and you do those as part of your due diligence before you execute the purchase agreement. And so those expenses would have been all of ours without this grant. And so as we were we've got a draft agreement ready to go, but as we took a look at it with the opportunity to abate some of those expenses with the monies from the Scott County CDA, we decided to take it through EDA and see what they wanted to do before we proceeded on that basis. So, we spent $2,500, we get $5,000 to do it, so it's not 100% our cost. And then as Ken indicated, the post-development on the traffic impact study, not something that you would normally have to do as part of the purchase agreement or purchase contract, something that would come later as a development cost, but here we have an opportunity to get 2/3 of it paid for, and so just thought it was prudent to try to minimize our involvement as much as possible as we take a look at that cost picture.
Any questions for Ken or Mike on this?
It's Ken's due diligence that enabled us to again, keep track of what's out there in some of these areas, and so he put together the grant application, and so got to make sure he gets kudos on that again.
Keep finding that money for us, will you, Ken?
Keep looking.
Any other questions or any other comments? I guess I'll look for a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Pat Scripture and second by Dave Brusick. If there's no other further comments, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Okay, passes 5-0. Good job, Ken. Thank you. Next on the agenda, change over the lease from ConAgra to the new milling company.
I'll take that, Mayor, that under the existing lease agreement that we have with ConAgra Foods, Inc., that was entered into September 1 of 2012, it was a 3-year lease at that time. As you recall, several weeks ago, we were notified that Miller Milling will be acquiring the local mill, and as such, impacts our lease agreement. There's a provision under Section 11 where there can be an assignment of the lease, and as we worked with Scott, his indication was that the company just simply wanted us to sign a sheet of paper that said we'll transfer the lease, but Scott's conveyance was, well, we need to make sure that Miller Milling is going to accept the conveyance of the transfer of that lease, and so that's why you see the assignment and assumption as written. Late Friday, finally heard back from both from ConAgra that the date and the heading of the lease should be effective as of May 25th instead of May 26th in the opening paragraph. And then under sections 1, 2, and 3, just ahead of May 25th, they wanted to insert 11:59 p.m. So basically, the changeover at midnight on the 25th going into the 26th is going to be the effective assignment and assumption of the lease. So just a minor correction from what I had put in your packet, and so with those changes, we'd recommend approval of the assignment and assumption of lease.
Never easy, is it?
No, and then they kind of come up at the last minute that this is happening Memorial Day weekend, and I think I got a call late last Wednesday, would we be able to put this together and get it handled? And Scott was out of town, and so we got it taken care of. And they're real pleased that we could accommodate this, and then the utilities will also accommodate and read out the utilities to take care of this assignment and transfer that's going on. So wanted to work with them as best we could.
Okay, well, good. Any other questions or comments regarding the reassignment and assumption of the lease?
I do. I have a quick question. 2 years ago when we did that, they were paying $5,000 when it was owned by the bank. Was that not correct?
Yes, they were leasing the entire site. This lease cut that in half.
Half, okay.
Yes.
Okay. That's the reduction then?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Not, I guess I'll look for a motion to approve the lease document.
So moved.
Second.
I got a motion by Dave Brusick, second by Pat Scripture. Is there any other further comment? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Okay, passes 5-0. Next thing, with the interviews done by the council and talking with the council members, I would like to make my appointments to the boards and commissions, which then the council will approve. So starting with EDA, I would recommend Brent Quast. Golf, Stacy Whitty. Park Board, we have Amy Jurek, who is re-signing up, and Courtney Omninson. Park Board Youth, we have Marissa Keevy. Utility Commission, we have Brian Skolk. And Planning Commission, Jay Newring, who is being appointed. So, any questions on any of those appointments? If not, I guess I'll look for a motion to approve those appointments to the boards and commissions.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Sean Ryan, seconded by Dave Brusick. There's no other questions. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Okay, passes 5-0. Next, consent agenda. Any questions on the consent agenda besides the Mark Voseca approved something here?
Yeah.
On,
Close to the bottom of the second page, Mark.
yeah, public, what did you do, Mark?
That's- I'm
Second-
assuming that was
second
Mark
last paragraph.
Bartuszczyk, was it? And not Mark Bosik.
For the Toro, I can't remember who did the second. But well, Mark might have, he's starting to slip in there. What's that?
I saved my notes.
Okay, yeah, if you could just correct that.
There's one other one.
You suppose it was the other Mark?
Yeah.
He always wanted to be on this side of the table.
I'm really, it's good that we got it documented.
What was the other thing?
The other one is on actually page 547, Mary Jo, about right in the middle of, it'd be the City Administrator Johnson, in the second last line, City Attorney's Office, there are some site reservations. Should that be slight? Or is it site revision?
Oh, slight revisions, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Catch that when I read it as slight. Just one.
Any other changes or questions on the consent agenda?
No.
If not, I guess I'll look for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So move.
Second.
I got a motion by Dave Brusick, seconded by Pat Scripture. All in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Okay, passes. Moving right along. Before we go around and on the miscellaneous, we did bring into the agenda 8A, so I'm going to sneak that up, sale of the old ladder truck. It looks like it's back in our lap again.
Yeah, the sale apparently has fallen through. That as Jerry worked with the gentleman, we got the name to send it off the truck and made contact with the gentleman and was working with him over the course of several weeks. And ultimately, he determined the cost of trying to get the insurance in order for him to be able to drive it back. There was some determination what type of vehicle it should be and whether it could get licensed on his end or whatnot. So he just told Jerry that he was going to withdraw his offer to purchase. That was about $3,500. The other one you had on the table that night that he had brought was the consideration of a donation to Pioneer Power as to whether you wanted to do that, or we're back at square one trying to figure out where we want to go with it, other than that they'd like to get it out of the firehouse if they can.
Okay.
So it's your call.
Any ideas?
I'm going to advertise it a little bit longer, see if somebody else shows up that wants it.
Is there any tax implications if we donate it, or?
No, not to us.
No, I mean, that we could write it off on the city, or, I mean, as
We
a
don't pay
donation?
We're a tax exempt entity.
For the fire truck too, or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we have no tax, we file no taxes.
Okay.
For the city, as a governmental entity,
Public
Doesn't do
sector
it?
only
Okay.
sucks in taxes, Sean.
Right. Right.
How long did they have it advertised last time? And it
I
seemed
didn't
like
bring
it
that
was-
same sheet, but if you remember, we used the League of Minnesota Cities, all the fire
Yeah.
publications, we did all of those pieces.
Seemed like it was a long time, but I can't remember.
If you remember, it was a 1979 vehicle, and it had estimates in excess of $30,000 in repairs to the latter portion and other parts of the truck. So it's not an extremely valuable asset at this stage of the game.
Mhm.
So your call.
I suggest we just donate it.
So do I.
Yeah,
I'm fine with donating it.
okay. Well, Dave, why don't you make a motion?
Make a motion that we donate it to Pioneer Power per their
Second
request.
it.
Motion by Dave Brusick to donate to Pioneer Power, second by Pat Scripture. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition?
Aye.
Okay, passes 4-1. Okay, now miscellaneous, go around. Bruce, do you have anything? Mark? Glenn?
INS did the survey of the baseball field Saturday, May 17th, so hopefully within a week we'll have some documents in hand as far as showing everything and all the elevations and things like that. So that was quite the donation.
Good.
So-
And then meeting with Delano is Wednesday?
Wednesday night,
Yep,
correct.
okay.
Yep.
Okay, anything else?
That's all I got.
Meeting with Delano for what?
Baseball.
Oh,
We're going to their baseball field to talk to to the city officials as far as what it took to get it to that point as far as for the state tournament. And just kind of pick their brain, or they're going to tell us, what to expect, what they had to do, things like that, so.
Okay. And if you happen to see today, as Glenn brings up baseball, I don't know if you saw just up the road, our neighbors to the north ran into a $90,000 emergency repair to replace the grandstands, wasn't it, Ken?
Yeah, at the mini-met
Oh, yeah,
there
I
in
read
Jordan. They had some
oh, yeah?
rot.
Like
in the
$90,000.
stands, and they had to
Oh, really? I
Fix
thought that
'em.
was built into the hill.
Rotting.
That was
No.
more of a concrete deal.
No, it's, but, yeah, they have to,
In the
the city's gonna
Minneapolis paper.
finance it just to get it so that they get, be ready for state tournament. So, yes.
In June.
Ken,
Nothing.
anything?
Nope, nothing.
Come on, you gotta make something up.
Don't.
Okay. Pat?
I just wondered if I could ask, we were talking about the industrial park in everything. And how are we coming along with that land purchase, or can you share anything or not?
We have met with Randy to talk about the conditions. We have a draft contract ready to go, but before we went to offer something to him, the intent at this point was to do our due diligence on the items that we had on the agenda tonight versus putting those in as conditions and then trying to backtrack later on to modify or change the purchase agreement once all those were on the table. So the survey data will bring to light information that we don't believe exists at the present time in one document. The other part of it is the Phase 1. We don't reasonably expect there's going to be anything there from an environmental standpoint because we believe it's been generally used as ag for its entire history. But the wetland delineation is also an important verification to have done up front so that when we craft our final purchase proposal, that we have all of the best available information together. And if you recall from the discussions, the significant dollar amount that may be involved in this, it's appropriate to do the due diligence ahead of time.
Did you get a hold of the Moxes?
Yeah, we did get approval from Randy, and we will contact the Moxes as we get ready to submit the grant application.
Okay.
And then one more thing, that letter that got put in our packet from a citizen that didn't sign it,
That's right.
I think we shouldn't even see it. If they have to sign it, right?
It comes addressed to the mayor and council, so I provide it and pass it on to you. We did share it with the EDA, but we have no way to comment or do anything, but it comes addressed to you, so we provide it to you.
It should get thrown away.
Yeah.
That's not, we don't deal with people that act like that. They want to act like that, they will not be heard.
Okay. Anything else, Pat?
I was wondering, did we ever get a final numbers on that property at 107 East Main?
We have not done, we've not sat down to do the final accounting. There's been, we just closed on that here a couple weeks ago, and so I have not gotten together with Patty to put together the final accounting. We will provide that. It just hasn't been at the top of our priority list.
Okay.
But we will do that.
Moving up there,
If
though?
it's nice in June, I think we should have our first meeting over there.
That's all I have.
Looks really
Okay.
nice.
You have anything, David?
Yeah. Any further status on Compworth, Mike?
Yes, we have a meeting with Ann tomorrow on our population-sized cities. All my stuff went in. So we're going to be selecting the grouping of cities tomorrow to take a look at the population ranges that they're sending out the data. So we've got a joint teleconference with the entire staff to have discussion on that tomorrow morning.
Good. Any status on U.S. Aquatics? What's with the pool? I only hear kind of comments, but nothing.
Yeah, I hope to have the actual final report this week. I was hoping to have it by tonight's meeting, but that and then the preliminary questions that we can get to you guys for a review and comment on before we go any further with the survey. So we're getting there.
Good, good. And any word on the Armory?
Yes.
Thing yet?
I was just going to add to that piece. We finally, I had an updated conversation with one of the staff members out of Mankato, and he sent me the correspondence that they identified about 4 areas of information that we need to pull together in a request to have the mayor send a letter on for consideration to basically have them kind of rescind any of the existing obligations or ties that they have to the property with trying to find a way to get clean and clear title to us. So the military, the Department of the Armory said they have no interest. It's with the Department of the Interior, and so with this letter and the conversation that the Congressman's office had with them is we now know what to put into crafting a letter to ask them to respond on. So a little bit sure.
Actually, a lot faster than I thought it would go. So,
Are we going to get another, like the last 2?
yes.
But thank you both.
Anything else? Okay. Sean, do you have anything?
No, and if maybe Mike could just clarify real quick, because we do pay sales tax on certain vehicles, right? And the law just changed, but it used to be more than some city equipment and whatnot. Is that correct?
Yes.
But there's no way of donating and getting some of that sales tax that we paid for
No.
vehicles or equipment back from.
What you wouldn't take it? Where would you take the donation off?
I don't know. I just, that's what I was trying to get at. I just want to make sure I understand.
No, we
that.
don't do those things.
Right, because we don't file a tax return.
Right, I understand
That's where
that.
you
Okay.
you'd take your donations off, just like an individual.
All right.
And
Private
being that we
business.
do not file a tax return, there's no avenue for us to take any tax deduction or credit.
Sean just wants him to write a check back to us. so
Just wanted, if there was a possibility of getting it back, since we do cut the state a check for
Certain sales tax.
certain sales taxes. I just thought there might be an option.
Yeah, and then.
I just wanted to clarify that. I got
Yes.
it now. so.
We're hoping to provide as they finalize, that was one of the key areas in the tax committee this year as far as further clarification and enhancements as far as how this whole sales tax situation works with cities, that we've had a number of ongoing discussions from all departments sitting across there as we take a look at what it's applicable on, what it's not applicable on. As an example, any of the areas where we have some competition with the private sector, i.e. in the utilities in Bruce's arena from a utility standpoint, where there are other private utilities, we have to pay sales tax on our sales in those areas. The golf course, we have to pay sales tax on our purchases and our memberships and those kinds of things. So, but there are a number of other areas where it's not, and so the legislature spent a significant amount of time in the tax committee clarifying some of that. So I'm waiting to see the final bill that will clarify some of that. Some of the things where in the future on a snowplow, as an example, in Glenn's department, we've had to pay sales tax on the purchase of a snowplow.
Right.
The township and counties
Do not.
do not. We won't get that ability probably until July of 2015.
Right.
So there's a number of things that they've been working on, trying to clarify that action where they've basically said you don't have to pay sales tax on certain things. There still are a number of areas that they're fine-tuning to be able to answer those questions.
Okay. Anything else, Sean?
Nope, that was it.
Mark, do you have anything? Mike, do you have anything else?
No.
Mary Jo, awful quiet today. Patrick? I guess I don't have anything either, so I guess I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Can I say one thing?
Sure.
I'd like to I want to mimic what Ken Teets said, in that I think we have a wonderful staff. I'd like to particularly thank you, Mike, for all you've done to help us with our bond rating. And Ken, for all of the grants that you get for us, like the one we saw tonight, that really help our bottom lines. And all the staff who work beyond their call of duty, I think. I really am impressed with all the staff that New Prague has, and I'd like to thank all of you for everything you do for us. Amen.
I'd be remiss if I didn't thank you for the acknowledgement to the staff that it's not just what I do, that I get to play a role in the process, but all those gentlemen sitting across there that when you take a look at, and we've got such a good group in the sense, when you take a look at budgetary expenditures and management of their own departmental budgets, that it's easy to adopt a budget about how well you manage that budget, and in our case, I don't have to worry about departments running out at year end trying to spend to the limits to spend everything that they have in their budget. That I think you find that they give you good estimates on purchases of vehicles and capital equipment, and we second guess ourselves and evaluate whether we really need it and try to look at those processes. And so that spending and that decision making, they all play a strong role in that process. And collectively, it takes the council's policy leadership and your decision making with the planning that we do and the analysis and the auditing that we do, as well as the management of those budgets, that all lend credence to what that is. But it really was a good week this week to see the recognition from the outside rating world on our financial report card of getting a bond upgrade on one and then affirmation on another with removal of that negative outlook. That says some positive things about how this organization and operation is run collectively from everybody. So everybody ought to feel good about having a role in that process.
We do, and I just want the public to know that we're all doing our due diligence. Thank you, guys.
And I think that's why it's hard when someone like Kenny retires, because he was such a valuable asset to the community, and so next one we got I think is Mark. We'll have to reconsider that, but
Especially since he's voting.
Okay, well, I made a motion to adjourn.
Second.
A second by Dave Brusick. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposition? We're out of here. Thank you, everyone.
I didn't hear you say.
That was the shortest one since we came over here.
Well, I wasn't much on there.
No, there wasn't.
Mary Jo, Mark second that.